Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the regular scheduled meeting for the Beavercreek City Council. It is my honor to be able to invite the Order of the Purple Heart to post the colors, please.
Thanks, sir. Detail. 10. Hook. Break the shoulder. Hook. Add a half step. Ready? Hook. Detail. Halt. Break face. Prepare to post the colors. Ready? Post. Half step back. Ready? Left face. And a half step. Ready? More time. Ready? Left face. Order. Hurry!
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. It is with great pleasure this evening that Beavercreek is becoming a Purple Heart City. And to start us off today, I'm going to issue a proclamation. And I would love to read this to you, gentlemen. So thank you very much for being here. Whereas the city of Beavercreek and our community have a great admiration and the utmost gratitude and respect for all men and women who have and are selflessly serving their country and this community in the armed forces. And whereas the Order of the Purple Heart for military merit, established by General George Washington during the Revolutionary War in 1782, it's the oldest military decoration in the world, still in present use. And whereas citizens of our country have received the Purple Heart Medal as a result of being wounded while engaged in combat with an enemy force, construed as a singularly meritorious act of essential service. And whereas, in recognition of the estimated 1.7 million veterans since World War I who have been awarded this Medal of Honor, the city of Beavercreek desires to become a Purple Heart City as a tribute to the service and sacrifices of our veterans, and especially the valor of the extraordinary men and women who have earned the Purple Heart. Now, therefore, I, Bob Stone, Mayor of the city of Beavercreek, along with the entire City Council, do hereby proudly accept the official designation of Purple Heart City and confirm our commitment to honor those who serve and have served so faithfully in defense of our freedom as Americans, and gratefully acknowledge their sacrifice, bravery, unwavering commitment as patriots. So thank you very much for being here today, and I'd like to present this proclamation. Sir?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Comments, please?
It is our pleasure to be able to do this today, to be here with you, to honor you as a Purple Heart City. We also have a plaque that we would like to present to the mayor, if I might, please.
Ask my city manager to come up forward with me as well. Thank you.
Absolutely. This plaque is in recognition of your desire to become a Purple Heart city. The plaque reads as follows. The Military Order of the Purple Heart Special Recognition Award is bestowed with pride to the city of Beavercreek, Ohio, for your dedication and support honoring America's combat wounded veterans becoming the Purple Heart City. Presented by the Patriot members of the Department of Ohio Military Order of the Purple Heart, United States of America.
That's beautiful. Can we join you here?
Absolutely. We ask also that this plaque be displayed in this office for all to see. The mayor asked me to speak a little bit about the Purple Heart. I'd like to introduce our honor guard team today. From my right, starting at the end, Dave Bauer, United States Army, Purple Heart, Vietnam. To his left, Charlie Toby, United States Marine Corps, hoorah. Vietnam, wounded in action in Vietnam. My name is Jerry Ferris. I am a department commander for the state of Ohio for the Military Order of the Purple Heart. Served 2 tours in Vietnam, 3-time Purple Heart recipient. To my left, Glenn West, United States Army, wounded in combat in Vietnam. And on his left, Randy Howson, also Army, wounded in combat in Vietnam, 4-time recipient of the Bronze Star. So at this point, would you please give them a hand? One of the things that we talked about when it what happens and why is it so important to be a Purple Heart city? It started years ago with the Purple Heart Trail, and it spans throughout the United States. It goes from the East Coast all the way to the West Coast. And as we designate Purple Heart cities, you now become a part of that trail. And it is a distinct designation that once people enter and exit your city, they will be able to see the Purple Heart sign that designates you as a Purple Heart city. It comes with a lot of pride, a lot of dedication, and a lot of sacrifice that has gone into doing these types of ceremonies. So with that, I thank you. There's one other thing I'd like to do, Mr. Mayor, and I'm not trying to take over the show.
Well, please do.
But if you would. It is tradition that when we designate a city as a Purple Heart city, we present our Purple Heart coin to the City Council and their staff. And this is that coin.
Beautiful.
So, without further ado, Mr. Mayor, I want to give you yours first.
Sir, thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
And if I may make my round, that's for you. You're welcome. There's no diamonds in here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Sir, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you very much. That's for you. You are so welcome. My pleasure. And for you, you are welcome. Thank you, sir. You're welcome. And for you, you're welcome. And we have one more over here. City Manager.
Your service, sir.
You're welcome, sir. And your form.
This is the sign that will be posted at our entrance signs to the city. Put it up here for display.
Well, we are all very, very proud, and it took a little while to get this put together, and we're so proud of everybody that worked on this. As a Vietnam vet myself, I'm very happy that I am not eligible to be part of this organization, but I honor you, all that are, and thank you very much for your service.
You're welcome.
Any further comments?
It's now time to pay respects to our colleagues.
All right, we're going to open our meeting, and it'll be just a second then, sir. Be right back. this point, I'd like to call to order our regular scheduled meeting. May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Curran.
Here.
Councilmember Literal. Here. Councilmember Rushing. Here. Councilmember Upton.
Here.
Councilmember Van.
Here.
Vice Mayor Garcia. Here. Mayor Stone.
Here. And at this moment, I'd like to turn it over to Councilmember Rushing.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If you all would rise, it's my honor to invite the Order of the Purple Heart to lead us in the pledge this evening.
Detail. 10. Right shoulder. Left face. Present. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ready? 2. Right shoulder. Right face. Detail. Left face. And a half step. Ready? Detail. Dismiss.
If y'all would please remain standing for a moment of silence and a prayer. Lord, leadership is hard to define. Leadership is less about watching and correction and more about listening and connection. Lord, as you taught us, leadership is less about the love of power and more about the power of love. Lord, as we continue to understand the role of leader, let us guide you to perform us as a leader. Amen.
And okay, thank you very much. And a special thanks to the Order of Purple Heart this evening. Thank you. We have an agenda before us. Anyone have any changes or corrections?
Mr. Mayor, seeing no changes, I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as submitted. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Approval of the minutes, May 21st, 2018 work session. Any changes?
Seeing none, I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the May 21st work session minutes as submitted. All in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Approval of the minutes for the May 29th, 2018 regular meeting. Anyone?
Move we approve those.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from May 29th as submitted. All in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Introduction. Chief?
Good evening, Mayor, Council.
Good evening.
I have with me tonight Officer Mark Brown. He's our newest community engagement officer. Last year, we reorganized the police department and created this position. And in this year's budget, we had it allocated to Phil. But Mark was filling a role as the school resource officer at the high school, which he has filled for the last 5 years. And when school ended this year, Mark took the assignment on May 27th to the new position of Community Engagement Officer. He will be handling our community engagement efforts. As you know, one of the priorities of our mission statement is working in partnership with the community. With this position and Mark heading it up, it will give us the opportunity to have a more directed focus on our community engagement efforts. Every position Mark Brown has filled in his 25 years with us, he has excelled at, and I have no doubt he will excel at this position also. So I'm going to turn the microphone over to Officer Brown. He's going to talk to you about a couple upcoming events that he has planned.
All right.
Thank you, Chief.
Sure.
Thank you, Council, Mayor. Honored to be here. Excited to start my new role in the city. I know most of you, and I'm looking forward to continuing working with you. Like the Chief said, it's a new position, but it's basically building on what I think we already do as a police department. Still establishing that trust and mutual respect we have with our citizens in the community. Doing a lot of outreach. And that is my goal, is to be accessible to the community through that. Any type of programs, like I said, outreach that we can do to help, that's what I want to do. Two things I just want to hit real quick that we do have up and running, and it'll be on our website and our city police department Facebook page. Applications for the Citizens Police Academy. I would like to encourage any citizen that is a current resident of the city or township or a business owner to get into that program. It'll start this September 19th through November 8th, I believe. 8-week program. You learn all the facets of police work. And then also we have a new program that me and another officer are doing. It's called RAD. It's a women's self-defense program. We're going to be offering 2 classes this summer to basically teach women risk avoidance, self-awareness, and also physical control and different things like that. So look for those programs if anyone out there in the community wants to get involved in those, and I look forward to working with you guys. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. We're looking forward to it as well.
All right.
So all the tough questions we get from the community now, we can forward to you.
Forward to me, yeah.
You're the engagement officer. Is that it?
There you go. So, yep.
You heard it first here.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. All right, on to pre-scheduled speakers. Councilmember Van?
We are lucky in Beavercreek to have the Heartfulness Institute. It is one of the organizations that's a partner with the UN, and it's amazing that we have one of their offices, one of their chapters or whatever in Beavercreek, Ohio. They'll probably explain during their they do a lot of meditation. It's really important now to better understand the importance of meditation for brain health. We're getting smarter and smarter about brains. Let's let them tell their pre-scheduled ideas, and I am pleased that you're here and will share that with us.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. Respected
Hello
Mayor
there.
and the Vice Mayor and all the council members. My name is Uma. I am from the Heartfulness Institute. I am a trainer from the organization. Like Julie said, Heartfulness Institute is a non-profit educational organization for wellness and training. And affiliated with the UN Peace Program, we have similar goals to promote peace and harmony and balance in individuals and thereby in our community. So what we offer is we give our community, our members in the community, relaxation and meditation techniques. It's an all-volunteered organization, and all our services are offered free of charge. All over Miami Valley area, we've been offering these classes at Miami Valley Hospital, Kettering Cancer Care. We're going to start in August at Soyan and the Kettering main building. And we've been offering at our Montgomery County, 7 county offices through Vijay Chitkara. All over the area. We are at UD, Wright State, International Peace Museum, House of Om, Tree of Life Church, because it is, organization believes this. With the Harvard research also proves 3 things produce the happiness in the human brain. Is exercise, meditation, and prayer. That is taking care of our body, mind, and spirit. But even because our minds are so disturbed, we're not even able to sleep better. So until we maintain the mind, we can't take care of the body. And with all our different religious beliefs and spiritual beliefs and belief systems, we're not able to tap into the silent, prayerful state in our heart because our mind is disturbed. So the Institute believes that mind needs maintenance. A lot of times people stay away from meditation thinking it has to do with anybody's religious belief. It doesn't have to be because of anybody's religious belief. You have a house, you maintain the house. You have a car, you maintain the car. You have a body, you maintain the body. We have a mind, and we need to maintain the mind. And looking at our celebrities and the way our society is and where suicides are happening, it's important for us to give our community tools to manage stress, and relaxation and meditation are those tools that we can give to our community. So with that noble intention, Heartfulness Institute is here to serve, and we are very happy we are here in Beavercreek on Lance Road, and we have your support in full. You have always been with all our programs that we have done. Today we are here to give you all this new book that has been released, The Heartfulness Way. It gives some techniques of meditation, techniques to release stress from ourselves, and demystifying the ideas and misconceptions about meditation. It's been written by the leader of the organization, Mr. Kamlesh Patel, and has been co-authored by Joshua Pollack. And we are very happy Joshua will be here in Dayton at our center on June 24th, Sunday at 10 a.m. And we would like, if you are free, to come and present the situation at this as special delegates to hear from the author himself and meet and meditate with the author. And we have a book signing event. It's on June 24th. So we want to thank you all personally for supporting the organization. It's immense support from, I actually once conducted a meditation session right here in this room for your staff. And we are hoping that we can actually offer this to our Beavercreek City Council staff members, and we are looking for opportunities to do that. And we have several trainers that come and do this volunteer work, and it's always offered free of charge everywhere. So
Tell them just a quick story about when a classroom, how it can affect a classroom, and how Beavercreek schools have been so eager to employ this self-discipline.
yeah, so in India, in schools, this is being offered to students and teachers. And I heard the leader of the organization speak to the students, and he said that if one atom blasts, the surrounding atoms blast. That is atomic explosion by Einstein. If one person meditates in the house, the calmness spreads inside the house. Like if you are sad, it affects your family. If you are happy, it affects your family. If you are peaceful, it affects your family. And scientific research proves that if there is 100 people meditating in an area, 5 miles radius, there won't be any negativity. So it's like in a dark room, you light a candle, there is light. If you light 1,000 candles, there is illumination. So with each one of us meditating, the calmness spreads. We are not only helping ourselves, we are helping our community. So we are offering this to the Beavercreek school teachers, and several teachers have been very open and coming in, and they are actually giving this relaxation to their students in their classroom. And the relaxation technique is just 5 minutes. And several teachers reported, even Suman Medireta, who is here, she's a teacher, she has offered it at Stivers and Belmont schools. And the results are amazing with the students. And Mrs. Renee Velna from Beavercreek Schools, she offers it for her class. And she says the students actually ask. So before exams and all that, the children go through stress, she's giving it to the children for 5 minutes relaxation. And we were actually at the district also trying to see if we can take it to our students. And if teachers can be trained with this, we can offer this technique to the teachers. It just takes an hour class. It is not like it takes an hours and hours. It's just a technique which the teachers can offer to the children, and our children will have tools to manage stress.
It's just over the nighttime, you never know what a child in a classroom will have had happen in his personal
Absolutely,
space.
absolutely.
And he comes to class and he has to refocus his head so that he can get the most out of school.
Yeah.
And this allows that to happen. It's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
And we all could use that in our lives. And I
Yes.
just think it's
Yeah.
terrific that, I'm so pleased that we have the Heartfulness Institute in Beavercreek.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for your support. We would like to present you with this.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, really appreciate it.
You have to come on June 24th to get it autographed. But now you have your own copy to bring to that signing.
Absolutely.
10 o'clock.
thank you.
10 o'clock on June 24th.
Of course.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for being here. Looking forward to the 24th. Thank you. Next, ordinances, resolutions, and PUDs. Ordinance 18-09.
This is the first reading of an ordinance providing for the submission to the electorate amendments of the charter of the City of Beavercreek, Ohio, and to place the same on the ballot at the general election November 6, 2018.
Thank you. Steve, you have any comments you want to?
Simply, Mayor and Council, that there are, as noted, there are two changes. The first one is to eliminate the requirement of dual elections, except in those situations where it is more than where the person is appointed to a term more than 2 years. And the second one is simply to reduce it from 75 signatures to 50 signatures on a petition to run for council. The thought being that 50 is enough. Those are the two changes. Yeah, it is one ballot. It will be one ballot issue once we submit it. And the second thing is that ultimately, in order to make this pass at the second reading, I would request probably that we make this an emergency on the third reading, so it takes effect on it, but it'll be 3 full readings, adoption at the third reading.
Okay, thank you. Any comments from council?
I will vote against it. Do you want me to tell you why? Or are you going to have a public input?
You're welcome to. I mean, if you...
I believe that this wasn't initiated by citizens. It was initiated by city council people. And I think it's really important that the citizens choose who their council people are. And I think that anybody who wants to be on city council can get 75 signatures. It forces them to go out and share their ideas with people to get those signatures and get their endorsement to be on the ballot. And when our population was 30,000 people, 75 signatures was not too many. And so now that we've got nearly 50,000 population, I still think 75 signatures is fine. I don't think that's necessary. And the way the charter is currently written, if the city council appoints somebody, then the person is supposed to run at the earliest election, and I don't see any reason why the citizens shouldn't continue to have that. Maybe in the future we'll find that over years it's a problem, but at this point I don't see it to be a problem.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience that wants to address council on this issue? Okay, any other comments from council? Do I have a motion?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I would move for approval of ordinance 18-09, move it to the second and third reading.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 18-09, moving it to the second and third reading. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Next, ordinance 18-10.
This is a single reading of an ordinance to approve supplemental appropriations and certify additional revenue for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2018 and ending December 31st, 2018, and to amend ordinances 17-34, 18-02, and 18-04.
Thank you. Mr.
Good evening, Mayor and members of City Council. We've had a couple of unexpected issues that have popped up here that we need to appropriate some additional funding to take care of them. There's 4 of them, and the first one is a emergency repair to one of our vehicles out at the cemetery. It broke down. The piece of equipment is sort of a hand-me-down from the street department to the cemetery department, where the equipment out there is getting a little bit old, but we determined that it was better to repair the critical piece of equipment than buy a new one, because they're very costly. And the repair on that equipment was $4,500, and so we need to appropriate those funds, and that's coming out of the general fund. So the cemetery is in the general fund, so we'll need to appropriate the cost of those 2 repairs. The second one is really a upgrade for the police department. In conjunction with Greene County, they've elected to upgrade their software. They're using a LexisNexis software for background and investigations, and they'd like to get a full license. And the deal that the group has struck is that the $30,000 single license would be shared by the county, Fairborn, Xenia, and ourselves, and the county was going to kick in $20,000 and again use their federal forfeiture funds to do that upgrade. And we wanted to participate in that and get the full benefits of that full license. Again, it's a shared license, but there'll be the license holder. And so we have to additionally appropriate $5,000 for that particular component. And again, that is coming out of our federal forfeiture to pay for our share of that particular software license. So the third thing, and I'm sure you've all heard about this, was the damage and the sewage backup at CI Beaver. We went in, we repaired it. They actually had to dig up the foundation to get to the pipe and replace the pipe, and it was pretty costly. It was about $12,500. Again, we contacted our insurance agent, who at that point informed us that the repair work and the restoration work was covered, but the actual pipe itself and the repairs to the pipe were not. Unfortunately, the $2,500 for the restoration is right at our insurance deductible. So again, with our pool with Maverma, we're self-insured up to $2,500. So that was sort of a wash there. And so we do have to appropriate the entire amount for the repairs itself. So that you'll see that in there for $12,551. In order to get that started, we actually had to pay $1,000 as a deposit to get the vendor in there to do the restorations immediately to try to minimize the downtime there. And we paid for that using a method that normally we would send that to Maverma and they would reimburse us. We did that in an emergency basis, and instead of them paying the vendors directly, they'll pay us that $1,000. So we actually have to certify that revenue coming in as the offset to that deposit that we put down. Then, subsequent event to that was, as we had our debris sitting around in the parking lot as they were doing the repairs, somebody came by and decided that it would be big fun to take some of those rocks and concrete and throw them through our block windows, which, I don't know if anybody is aware, those block windows are pretty tough. So it really took some effort to go in and do that. But the vandals did cause $1,375 worth of damage to the glass block windows out there. And again, with our insurance level, that self-funded insurance, so we're going to have to certify that or appropriate that amount for the cost of repairs for the windows. So that was unfortunate. The last thing was if you recall, in the budget, we had a van that we were purchasing with grant money through Miami Valley Regional Planning. When we actually did the budget, we were informed that the cost was $67,500. When they actually went out to bid and bought the van, it increased a little bit to $70,500. So we were about $3,000 short in the budget, so we have to appropriate those funds that are coming out of Fund 750, which is the Miscellaneous Trust Fund, which is where we have funds from transportation, folks that give donations for transportation. We put it in there, and that money will be coming from those transportation funds. So again, the money is available in 750 to pick up that additional cost. And again, I'm sure you've all seen the van out there, and it's very good. And again, for the price that we paid 20% of that total amount. So we had to pick up the entire amount of the additional funds, but again, we only paid originally 20% of that, $67,500. So I'd be happy to answer any questions for you if you have any on those related items.
Anyone?
Yeah, Mr. Becerra, I did have one question related to the police software. So the total is $30,000 and the county's putting $20,000 in.
Right.
We're putting $5,000.
Yes.
Where's the other $5,000 coming from, and why are we paying $5,000?
Well, it gets a little convoluted when you talk about the description there. We're actually paying $3,200. The other shares are coming from the other entities to make up that extra 10. But we ended up getting a check that was, again, supposed to be for the county. And we got the check, we deposited the check, and now we're paying them back. So in order to do that, we took the $32,000 that we had to pick up for this and then sending them their $1,800 back. And that's why we have to appropriate the $5,000. But little convoluted story. I didn't figure you wanted all that detail in there, but good question. I knew that was going to come up. Somebody thinking, wait a minute, there's 3 other agencies.
Yeah,
How are
that's
we
what I'm like,
thinking of the
Are we,
$5,000?
is it, it's us and one other agency in? I
Right.
mean,
But yeah, as I was writing that, I'm like, that's getting a little ridiculous to describe all that stuff. So, but you've got the information that you need now.
got it, thank you.
Uh-oh.
If I could clarify, if all 4 agencies go in, our cost will be lower, but we're not assured that all 4 agencies are going in. Plus, we have to pay back the $1,800 on a federal forfeiture that was sent to us, and we deposited and should have went to Greene County to be distributed as part of a forfeiture in a drug case. So $1,800 of that $5,000 is going back where it should have went to begin with.
So there's really potential that it won't be a total of 5,000.
There's
If this
likely
4th
potential
agency
it
comes
will
in.
not. 5,000 is the worst case scenario.
And that's what we're appropriating.
Yes.
All right, that's all I had.
And as any good finance director does, if I get a check, I deposit it right away and ask questions later. So that's basically what happened there. That's right. Somebody will tell me if we deposited an error, and they finally did, so.
Any other comments from council? Anything from the audience? Anybody have any comments on this?
Mr. Mayor, if there's no further comments, I would move for approval of ordinance 18-10, and I believe it will be by a roll call vote, please.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 18-10. May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Literal?
Yes.
Councilmember Rushing?
Yes.
Councilmember Upton?
Yes.
Councilmember Van?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Garcia?
Yes.
Councilmember Curran?
Yes.
Mayor Stone?
Yes. Motion does carry. Thank you. Next, Resolution 18-23.
This is a resolution to proceed to levy a renewal tax in excess of the 10 mil limitation as stated in section 7505.19 and subsection 7505.19J as amended of the Ohio Revised Code for providing and maintaining motor vehicles, communications, other equipment, buildings, and sites for such buildings used directly in the operation of a police department for the payment of salaries of permanent or part-time police, communications, or administrative personnel to operate the same, including the payment of any employer contributions required for such personnel under section 145.48 or 742.33 of the revised code as authorized by the Ohio Revised Code, which levy shall be 4 5/10 mils to run for the continuing period of time, and declaring the question of the renewal tax levy shall be submitted to the electors at the general election to be held November 6, 2018.
Now it's your turn, Bill.
Very good. I think that pretty much sums it all up. No, as we talked before in the work session and the last meeting, we've decided to go with a continuing renewal for the upcoming police levy with the 4.5 mils. It's a 2-step process. The first step was to have the county auditor certify the revenue that would be generated from the 4.5 mils, and we did receive that. And that represents $5.895 million. And it's about, the city does get about $1.31 million per mil. So again, that was pretty consistent with what we've had in the past. This levy does represent about 61% of the entire police budget, and we believe that we can survive on the renewal for several years going forward, and we're recommending the placement of this on the November 6th ballot for a renewal for a continuing period of time. I know the mayor asked last time, and I'm not sure that I got that out as far as the accuracy, but we do have 3 other permanent police levies, and the dates on those were interesting when you look at them. Was 1981. The first one was passed, 0.9 mil. The next one was 11/8 of 83. And that one's 3 mils, and then one on 11/5 of 85 was 1.2 mils. Now again, from those dates and those original levy amounts to the effective rate of those levies is fairly incredible. So of those 5 mils, really we're collecting on 2 of those mills, really. So again, the effective rate goes down as the growth of the city goes up. So I just wanted to mention that because again, that was a question. And again, the strategy here was if you recall, the 3.7 original millage that was part of this in 2014. We preserved that off to maintain the state rollback, the 12.5%, and then the additional thereafter. State legislation passed a legislation that basically said any new levy or any additional levy, that rollback would disappear, and then the burden of that 12.5% would be placed back on the residents. So again, we preserved the majority of that, the 3.7, when we added the 0.8 mils. And again, by doing this renewal, we'll continue that trend and again, be saving the residents that 12.5% on that 3.7 mils. So I think it's a good strategy and a good financial strategy for the city to do this on a renewal and continuing basis. So we would look forward to supporting that. And again, what you have before you is actually the ballot language that has to get over to the Board of Elections by August 8th. So we've given plenty of time to get that on the ballot, and it will show up this November.
All right.
Be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Anyone? Question?
I just have a comment, Mr. Mayor. I'd
Please.
just like to thank the chief and the department and your staff for just the great management and being fiscally responsible in order to actually, this has been 5 years. It's the first time we went for 5, and they were able to move this and to have some opportunities to make some decisions and do some changing at the police department. And you heard that earlier where they talked about how they changed some positions, and we have a new community engagement officer, which is all for the betterment of the city. So I think being fiscally responsible and using those funds as diligently as you have, I think just is a good sign for the voters to know that we're working very hard at the police department and finance. So just thank you for that.
Anyone else? Do I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve, Resolution 18-23.
Second?
I have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 18-23. May we have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Rushing?
Yes.
Councilmember Upton?
Yes.
Councilmember Van?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Garcia?
Yes.
Councilmember Curran?
Yes.
Councilmember Literal?
Yes.
Mayor Stone?
Yes. Thank you. Next, Resolution 18-24.
This is a resolution giving consent to the Director of the Ohio Department of Transportation to proceed with the U.S. Route 35 Super Street Project, PID number 102421.
Sir?
Good evening, Mayor, members of City Council. The Ohio Department of Transportation is very close to finalizing the preliminary plans and the design build package for the US 35 Super Street project between Factory Road and Orchard Lane. One of the items that they need from us in order to finalize that package is the resolution you have before you, which essentially gives ODOT the city's consent to construct the portion of the project that's within the city of Beavercreek. For what it's worth, timeline-wise, right now ODOT is looking to have a contract awarded for the design build by this fall, with construction to begin in the spring of 2019. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
All right, thank you.
I had a question, Your Honor.
Please.
What were the special things that Beavercreek was going to be including in this?
Sure.
For their portion, what are those things?
That's kind of standard language that they require, where if the city were to request something above and beyond what's needed for the transportation purpose, we would have to pay for it. There is nothing we've asked for, so there wouldn't be any cost for that.
Thank you.
Can you fill us in and give us a short update on how this Shakertown realignment timing is going to be with this?
Absolutely. The plans for Shakertown Road, the city project is they're just about done. We're getting ready to start purchasing the property we need to build the project. Where the goal is to have the two projects, Super Street and the city Shakertown Road projects, going on at the same time. The big importance of that is right now, how Shakertown Road comes out to US 35, you can't really have that with the Super Street layout. So one of the first things we will be doing is closing that off, which will help get both projects going there.
Okay. It's coming right around the corner.
Yes, sir.
All right. Any other comments? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 18-24. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same. Motion carries. Next, Resolution 18-25.
This is a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a new Rotary Park lease agreement with Beavercreek Township.
You can do it, Chief, that's all right. We move the meeting along pretty good, but now let's not skip over.
Well, you can skip it. Throw me off like that. Good evening. So this is
Good
Rotary
evening.
Park agreement. So as we spoke in the work session, this Rotary Park agreement will go the length of January 1st, 2019 to December 31st, 2019. Our current contract extension ends this year. So that would enable the Parks Department to continue to operate and maintain Rotary Park as we have been. So as we approach 2019, should City Council decide to put a levy on the ballot for parks, and that levy passes, the city can go ahead and then request that the township deed Rotary Park to the city. If the levy is not successful, then we can renegotiate the terms of the contract. If we go ahead and go forward with the resolution and this agreement, then we will also go ahead and ask for a title search be done on the property, and then work with the county to work on the agreement for the back half of the park. So, and then we'll update the map that's in your agreement.
All right, thank you very much. Anybody have any questions?
Mayor?
Please.
One of the most confusing things when I started was Rotary Park, because you have multiple jurisdictions, multiple entities there. And one of the reasons why we have a contract with the township for the one part of Rotary Park is because we do not own it. That is owned by the township itself. As we just stated, it would be our intent, if so desired by City Council, to continue the levy next year, early next year, and to ask for additional funds to be able to actually take ownership of the front part of Rotary Park. That would allow us those funds to do that. Then we not only become the manager of the park, so to speak, because that's what we're doing with the agreement. We're managing it right now for the owners, but we would actually become the owner-operator, so to speak, of the park. Kim made reference that the back half from the bridge backwards to the ball diamonds, that's all actually owned by Greene County, which is under a, I guess, long-term lease agreement with the township. Although then the township turns around and with the agreement lets us manage that part. That won't change as far as the ownership of the Greene County will maintain ownership of that back half, but then the long-term lease agreement of that property will probably go from the township, and then we'll have the arrangement directly with us with Greene County. So there's a lot of moving parts here, but a lot of people go down the lane, and you got, from Owen's Place, which is Victory Park, and then you got the Rotary Park, and you have so many different entities, and Victory Park will stay Victory Park, but Rotary Park will be, of course, the park on the right side until you get past the bridge, and then it widens out and then goes into the Greene County space. So it's very confusing there. I know a lot of people scratch their head thinking it's all just owned by the city or owned by somebody, but just wanted to clarify that for everybody, if that helps in their understanding of what we're doing.
All right, thank you. Any comments from council? Questions? Do I have a motion?
Motion. Second. Motion, resolution 1825.
Second.
I have a motion to approve Resolution 18-25. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Thank you. Now, Chief, please, you may come forward now under liquor permit.
Thank you, Mayor, I appreciate it. Before I read this, though, if you'll indulge me for just a second, with regards to the comments regarding the fiscal management we've done in the police department, again, I've mentioned this to you before, but I think the citizens need to hear this. I have to commend council, because we've been on 3-year levy cycles prior to 2014 since 1999. And those 3-year levy cycles made it very difficult to get ahead of the curve with regards to our equipment and our fleet. By going to that 5-year levy cycle, it has allowed us in this cycle to get ahead of the curve, and that you should all be commended for, because you've approved those budgets that have allowed us to do that. So the renewal, and I'm pleased to be able to say the renewal should be suffice, and we are at a point in the police department, we're at 50 officer staffing, although it's difficult to stay there due to retirements and other issues, but I'm very pleased with that staffing level, and I think that will maintain us for a few years. And we're able to do the things that we need to do, such as the community engagement officer position, which allows us to expand our efforts in the community, and that's our priority, and I commend all of you for your support and your commitment to that. And the reason we're in the position today to present this as a renewal is as much a credit to you all as it is to us in the fiscal responsibility category. So thank you all.
Well, Chief, we thank you for that, but we also thank you and your staff for making it so easy for us to support your programs.
Well, Mayor, as we've often said, it's a team effort, and I'm proud to be a part of that team, so thank you. I have tonight a request for a new liquor permit for Viking Group Incorporated doing business as Donato's Pizza. Liquor Control sent us a notification reference a new D1 liquor permit for the Viking Group doing business Donato's Pizza, which is going to be in a new location at 3197 Rodenbeck. The record checks required by the Ohio Department of Commerce Division of Liquor Control were conducted on the business officer shareholders for this application request, and staff is recommending this application request move forward without comment. The Rodenbeck location is the former Tim's RX or Tim's Pharmacy.
Thank you, Chief. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to accept without comment for the Viking Group doing business as Donato's Pizza.
Second.
I have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. And you'll all notice that the agenda has been changed just slightly. And so it is the mayor's time, the mayor's report. And I've got a few things. One is the Parks Department, once again, did such a fantastic job on Memorial Day. I had so many wonderful comments as to how it went, not only physically, but the general that was there that spoke and a few other things. It was a great one, and it was nice short because of the heat. So we got through it very well, so thank you very much. And while I'm on parks, of course, yesterday was the first of the Music in the Park at Lafino Park, and it was very well attended. So keep those in mind on Sunday. Is it 7 or 8 weeks?
Yeah, 8 weeks.
8 weeks
Yeah,
consecutive?
Correct.
7 o'clock, 7 to 8 at Lafino Park. Last weekend, not just immediately last weekend, but the one before, the Creek Classic, huge turnout out at the soccer fields. Once again, everybody seemed to have a wonderful time. The weather cooperated real well. This coming weekend, Saturday the 16th, the Beavercreek Baptist Church, right across from the post office, is having their annual car show. They put on a huge car show over there, and it's a lot of fun. I get the privilege of picking out the mayor's choice, and so I'll be there for a couple hours anyway. I know that Ryan will probably talk about BHS. I'll leave that, Miss Beavercreek. Yeah, I'll leave that to Ryan. And with that, we will move on to council time. We'll start over here with Councilmember Curran.
Thank you, Your Honor. Happy anniversary time, June. It's my privilege to announce employees and years of service that have been given. The first one was Doug Lloyd with the Department of Engineering, 32 years of service to the city of Beavercreek. Scott Molinar, Police Department, 18 years of service. Nick Cornett, Public Service, 18 years to the city. Jason Mowry, Public Service, 18 years. Walt Serapopada, Public Service Department, 18 years, and also Todd Snyder from the Public Service Department, 18 years. Then we have Chris Earleys from the Public Service Department, 13 years. And we have Kenny Boyd, Public Service, 8 years. And 3 more in the Police Department. Nick Coltrane has 3 years. Ken Harris has 3. And then the last one, Frank Trimboli, Police Department, 3 years. I want to congratulate each of these people for their years of service and dedication to the citizens of Beavercreek.
Thank you. Councilmember Up?
No comments tonight, sir.
Well, thank you. Councilmember Van?
I was lucky enough to go to Manatee Valley Regional Planning, and they had a speaker that talked about the importance of having age-friendly communities now that our population is aging, and it would behoove us to just think forward to what we do. We've got a great community center, senior center, and so that I think we're ahead of several communities, but we just need to keep thinking forward. They talked about planning forward to the smart cars that will be driving without people, and I thought it was good that they were thinking forward, because when I was at the National League of Cities meeting, they too were thinking about this. I've read in the magazines that semis will be first, but cars will be soon thereafter, so it'll be an interesting time, but at least our regional planning organization has that on their radar. Not that they're doing a lot right now, but as they make decisions, they know that that's coming and they're planning ahead. It was really a rather short meeting, but the other important thing that they announced is that there will be no track awards for projects in 2018, but instead they will accept amendments to any current proposal. So I've already talked to Jeff Mormon about any amendments that we feel would really be important to enhance our super street. Now would be the time to, because they don't have enough money to give full-out awards, but they would do amendments to current proposals. I don't know if they would include Treybine or not, but anyway, that's the only thing that they're going to do this year. So that's it for my report. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember Rushing?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you alluded to earlier, I have the pleasure to once again be a judge for the Miss Junior Beavercreek Civic Pageant. And what's neat about this pageant is that it's not merely what one may think a beauty pageant. They put a lot of focus on civics, of how the young ladies who participate in this event give back to the community. And I think that is not only a great way to promote it, but it shows a true value of what it means to be a leader, is to give back to your community. So I just want to congratulate all the young ladies who participated in that event, the mayor who attended. It was a fun 2 days. The first day we had interviews with the judges, a one-on-one with the participants, and then obviously on Friday we had the pageant. So congratulations to Miss Beavercreek Junior, as well as the runner-ups. So perhaps in the future we can invite the young ladies to recognize them at council.
Certainly will, yes, sir.
And my last thing is I just want to congratulate and thank the golf club for hosting a great party on the patio. It was a great event, although a little rainy at the end. I did hold off. It had some great music, some nice drinks and food, and just have a good time at our terrific golf course. So thank you to all those who staffed that and put on a great event. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Little?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to remind everyone that we have the upcoming 4th of July festivities coming up on Wednesday, July the 4th. Parade will start at 6 p.m. and you can still try to get your float in if you'd like to do so, or be in the parade. So I believe we are still accepting permits, which is just a little form to fill out. So we'd love to have you. The more, the merrier, I say. It's always a great parade, so please, if you are interested, please get your permit. And we look forward to having the 4th of July again. And hopefully this year, we can keep the rain from coming, but at least towards the end again. So again, it's a great event, and we're looking forward to it. And our last committee meeting will be tomorrow at 5. So we should have everything wrapped up for
Very good.
for the event.
Looking forward to it. Vice Mayor Garcia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to thank again the Order of the Purple Heart that came in today to present our color guard. It was very, very wonderful presentation, and my grandfather was a Marine. He was, my uncle served in Vietnam, so I have very close ties to the military, and that was great to see. And I do appreciate the challenge coin. It's gorgeous. I love to collect those as well, so we were happy to have them here tonight. And I also like to thank the Heartfulness Institute of Beavercreek. I was feeling more relaxed just during the presentation, so I'm very excited to look at this, read this book over the summer, and just to learn more about what's going on in the community. So thank you to all of our presenters tonight.
All right, thank you. And we move on to the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. First up, we have our talking about our electric aggregation program, which will be beginning, as council knows, but on the 29th of May, we approved, they approved the pricing to begin the process of starting the City of Beavercreek electric aggregation program with Energy Alliances. They negotiated a price of basically just over 5 cents, 0.05015 cents per kilowatt hour. And the residents that are eligible for the program will be receiving letters. Now, these letters will be going out starting on the 15th of June. They'll have a logo, and if we can go to the next slide, they'll have our Beavercreek logo on it, and I want to show everybody. And then the AEP logo as well. So it's official if it's got the Beavercreek logo on it. On this paper, which I provided copies to council, is the letter. Sorry, it's small print. I think this comes out, it's supposed to be in like 8.5 by 11. It's a longer sheet. We condensed it to 8.5 by 10 here, or whatever size is. But it has all the information, the time frames. It has the opt-out letter part if they choose not to participate in the program. But more importantly, on the back, it has the frequently asked questions. We are releasing this to the press tomorrow, all the information, but it is already on our website, front page of our website under news. It is there, and a link directly. We have a separate page automatically set up for this that has the frequently asked questions on it, has a copy of the sample letter, has our rules of governance on it, and it also has our PUCO certification on it. So all the way around, we put out all the information. It's already there. You can access it. I posted it to Facebook and Twitter this afternoon as well. So just wanted to, I know residents, I wanted the council to have a full copy of the letter. Although, sorry, if you need a bigger version, we'll print you out a bigger version or send it to you. But it's available on the website, actually, too. But that way, when you start getting questions, it has some of those answers. And plus, you know, you'll know we all will be more educated on what's being asked of us. Lastly here, Parks and Recreation and Culture events. On June 22nd at 5:30, Party in Your Park. This is Stafford Park. Recreation staff will have free activities for families. Information on improvements to the park in 2019 will also be informally presented. They always like to know what's going to happen, and so we'd be more than glad to share that. And on July 7th at 8 a.m. in Gerst Parker Park, the community playground build. Come out and join your neighbors and help put together the playground. Excuse me. I do remember last year, is it Spicer Heights? I think, I know Mayor, myself, I think former council member Brian Jarvis, I can't remember who all, sorry if I'm forgetting, but we were out there at Spicer Heights last year, and that was fun to see all the community people. We were getting our hands dirty and digging and putting things together and taking things back apart to do it right the second or third time sometimes. But it was a good time of getting to know the neighbors in that neighborhood as well. So I really enjoyed that last year. So come out enjoy that. And the last thing I just wanted to say was I attended the Ohio Municipal League OML on Friday. They had they're doing, which I think is a popular thing to do. Instead of always being in Columbus or always being in one location, they're making a tour of going to different places. This one was just down in Mason, Ohio, so I went down there and had a lot of information, which I've got the files or scanning I'll be doing and sending council members and actually department heads and stuff. Some of the information that was at least a good reminder. A few things, made me think, which I enjoy hearing and meeting other people from different parts of the area, although most of us were from Dayton and Cincinnati areas, of course, but it's still always good to talk among fellow people from cities and find out what's going on in their world. So I appreciated that. And Mayor, with that, that's all I have.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, it's time for citizen input. Is there anyone here this evening that would like to address council on any issue under the sun? Please come forward. Give us a name and address, please. We ask that you try to keep your comments to about 3 minutes.
My name is Denise Shirk. I live on 3020 Thames Lane near Tonawanda Trail. I'm here to speak about the medical marijuana dispensary that is going to be put into the neighborhood on Tonawanda Trail. I am not opposed to the facility itself. I just do not believe they should have them in any residential area. There are many empty shopping centers in Beavercreek where they could be put in instead of into a neighborhood. The traffic on Tonawanda, which I live on the corner of Tonawanda and Thames, is already bad from where the cars are coming off of, I believe, 675 and cutting through to County Line Road, like in the mornings, and they're not going speed limits. I've been telling my brother about this for the last few months that I've ever noticed it. So I'm worried about the traffic with the kids on their bikes and everything. And I was just wanting to know if anybody had done a study with the adding traffic of this type of business to our street. Many of my neighbors have lived here for many years. In fact, I have moved into the house I grew up in when my parents passed because I know it is a good neighborhood. I have talked to my neighbors, and no one is in favor of any business that would increase the traffic flow in our area. We are also concerned about the property value in the future with this type of business going in. Thank you for your time and listening to our concerns. I strongly urge you to consider the effect this would have on our quiet neighborhood.
Well, we thank you very much for coming in this evening. Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, we will move on. Next item is adjournment, but before we do that, I want to say one more time, the entire council thanks the Order of the Purple Heart, and we're very proud to now be a Purple Heart city. And so with that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye. Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.